Hi guys, Marvin D'Souza. I'm an SE with Cisco. In this video we're going to cover how to configure a Cisco TACACS for a ASA V or an ASA. There are a couple of issues I stumbled onto while I was doing it, and I just wanted to share that with you guys. So let's get started. So I just installed this ASA. So let's configure it for just simple SSH access right now. So I'm going to configure my interface 0/0 with an IP address first. Make my inside interface. Set up my default route from the inside interface. SSH version 2. This is the access list for SSH. So here I'm just basically saying anyone, any IP address can access over the SSH protocol from the inside interface. Set up a username. Privilege 15. Set up my enable password. 3. Generated crypto. Yes. So let me see if I can ping my gateway. Okay, very good. Let me try SSHing to box here. 77 was the IP address. Okay, good. Getting the key. Oops. And using as admin. Password is 3. Oh, sorry, I forgot to put the very important command in there. I said, so my authentication failed because I didn't have the authentication. I didn't tell it what database to use for SSH. So I'm going to use the local one there. So let's try that again. Restart session. Let's go into 3. There we are. Cool. Alright, so now we've got SSH established. Let's go configure our ISE box. Discard changes, yes. Alright, so the first thing you need to do whenever you're configuring ISE is to make sure you've clicked on all the services on your, or you have the service running. So I have one ISE server running in my deployment. And what I want to make sure I have running here is device administration, if I have it checked. You need a TACACS license to do this. And if you don't have the TACACS license, you're doing this in a lab, you need to get the ISE eval software and not just the ISE full-blown. For some reason, without the TACACS license, the ISE full-blown won't work, so you need to have the eval for it to work. Okay. So first things first is you need to go and create a device group, because the way whenever a device sends an ISE TACACS authentication or authorization request to the ISE server, ISE needs to be able to distinguish what device that is. So under all devices, I just clicked add and I added firewall switches. I can click add and add a Nexus box or a wireless box, whatever. But I did that already because I had another firewall here, so its firewall. Okay, and then so that was under network device groups. Now under network devices, I'll go ahead and add a device, and I'll add a firewall. I'll call it Cisco. Okay, let's do ASA TACACS. Okay, the IP address of the box. And here under all device types, I'm going to choose firewall. Then I'll check TACACS here on 10. Cisco 123. Show Cisco 123. All lowercase, just to keep it simple. Everything else is done. Hit submit. So I'm going to pull up this notepad file and show you all the commands that are really needed to configure TACACS. So these first three commands set up my group. Within my group, I'm choosing a protocol I'm going to be using. It's TACACS Plus. Here I actually set the server within the group, the IP address, and this is the key. Then I have my authentication, authorization, and exec. Before we do that, I also want to show you one more thing. So I have external identity source of Active Directory set up. In another video, I've covered this in detail. So if you don't know how to do this, just go watch that video. And it covers how to set up Active Directory as a server, as a external authentication resource or source for Cisco ISE. Okay, so we'll give that a second to load. But let us get out of there. That'll be good. Let me pause this video. For some reason, this is hanging. Apologize. I apologize. That took a while to load. I had to close out my window and open it up again. But as you can see here, it's an operational stage, and I've pulled in some groups. And again, I say like that. There's another video that covers this in detail. So let's go back to where we were. So we finished doing a network device. I showed you the network device groups, and then we added a network device. Okay. Now for the config part, let's look at. Let's open up my AD server and take a look at. This is something an issue I stumbled into, and I just want to share how I resolved it with you guys, so you don't have to go through that. What's nice is ISE will also give you all the logs and all the details, so you can help troubleshoot and figure out exactly what's going on. So let's give it a second to initialize. There it is. Okay, I'll log in real quick. So you see this user here, enable 15. I'm going to disable this, and the reason I'm doing this is just so I can show you guys how ASA communicates with ISE initially, and how you could avoid a lot of heartache if you do that initially. Okay, so disable that. Go back to my switch. Open up. Let's open it up again because it reset. Restart. Okay, keep that here. Let's open up my notepad and let's copy that. Okay, copy. Get a config mode. Let's paste that. So we've copied the group and the host. Now let's copy this one line at a time. I just want to show you this. So copy and paste. Range already exists. And again, so if I do show run I just want to show you why it basically, remember we created this because it wouldn't let me log into the firewall using SSH because I didn't have this command. Now when I try to put this command saying, hey, first use ISE, then use local, it didn't change it for me because it said it already has a range. Let's keep an eye on this. This will cause issues for us later on. But now let's add the next two commands as well. So let's put this one in. And that one went in without any hitch. And I'll check this out. Let me put this command in. You're going to see a command authorization issue. So it'll say command authorization failed. Let's go look at ISE and see what ISE has to tell us. So ISE is doing all our authorization. Let's go to operations. Under operations, go to TACACS live logs. What you'll see here is ISE is sending that authentication, but look what the username is. So under username, it's sending the enable 15 as a user. So let's go back into ISE and AS and the Active Directory, and that user we disabled a few minutes ago. Let's enable it again. Let's go in there and hit enable. Let's try that command again. Enable account. Account enabled. Good. Let's go back here and try that. This time it worked. Okay, so now we've got all that working. So now let's create another account. Open another session and log in using an Active Directory. So I'll put my name in there. Cisco 123. Access denied. So, because I'm using TACACS, let's just say I'm using a wrong password, a bad password, I should see that here. So let's hit the refresh button and see if I'm seeing it. I'm not seeing it. All I'm seeing is the last enable 15 after I enabled the account and the command was allowed to be entered. So I got a green checkbox. This is when it failed, but my M. D'Souza is not coming in. The reason it's not coming in is because of this here. I got to change this command to make sure it has ISE in there. So let's do no. This here. And then copy and paste this. So now the ASA will actually send my requests to ISE. So let's try that again. I said restart session, right? Restart. There it is. Okay, very good. So I'm in. So now let's go look at ISE. So on the ISE, give it a second to refresh. There it is. M. D'Souza getting logged in with authentication and authorization. Okay. So now, let's go ahead. And now this is just basically authentication, right? We want to do more stricter device policy admin sets. So let's go ahead and create a device policy. Because I want to control the permission an admin has versus a help desk user. So let's go ahead and do that. So create above. I'm going to call this one. Edit. Call this ASA. In our conditions, I will hit create a condition, select attribute, device. Remember I mentioned earlier the device type. I'm going to change this to firewall. Okay, done. So ASA device type is looking for is anything tagged with a firewall tag, and when we created that on the network devices, we created it with the firewall tag. You can leave this all data stores, or you could change this to the actual Active Directory server. It doesn't really matter because all user ID stores will check every single user ID. That's done. But before we get started with the authorization policy, we need to actually create some policy elements. Let's go ahead and do that first. Go to policy elements, and under policy elements, let's look at results. So TACACS profiles. So under TACACS profiles, we have a help desk and a domain admins, which we're going to use that for other things as well. So let's just create a command set. So I got a permit all command set. I can use a permit all command set for my admins, but let's create one for help desk. So help desk, and here let's add the commands that we want help desk users to have. So we want them to have the show commands. This is helpful for help desk, so they can actually I'll do some show commands and figure out. We can just enter ping. This will be helpful for them as well. We can add the exit permit, the exit, so they can log out. I think that should be it. Okay, submit that. Oh, name's already in use, so we'll call that TACACS. We'll call that actually command set. Okay. And the permit, I'll just show you what it is basically, it's just, I just hit this checkbox and say, so it says permit any command that is not listed. Since no command is listed below, it's everything. Okay? And let's look at the profiles as well so you can see what's in those profiles. This is the domain admin profile. I just created this with a 15. And let's create another one. So let's make this, add another one for help desk ASA. So help desk _ ASA, and give this a privilege level of 15 as well. Because it doesn't matter what privilege level you'll give it, because for every command that's going to be authorized, the ASA is going to look at the ISE controller to tell it what commands can actually be run because of the command set. Help desk ASA, submit. Alright, so if you've got help desk ASA and you've got the domain admins, right? So let's go back into device admin policy sets under ASA. Here I'm going to add a rule above. I'm going to call this domain admins. Here I'm going to add a condition, creating a condition, directory server, external groups, equals, this was built-in administrators. The command set we chose was permit all, and the shell profile was domain admins. Done. Let's add another one, so row above, we'll call this one help desk, creating a condition, directory server, external groups, and we'll call this one help desk, obviously. Command set would be the help desk command set, and the shell profile would be help desk ASA. Done. So now you have two groups it's going to look for. Hit save. So now let's try logging in again with help desk. So we should have access only to the show command, so I can do a show run. That should work. Okay. Now let's try doing a configure command, and I get this authorization failed, which is what I want to see. But at the same time, if I log in as a admin, I should not have any issues running any commands. So show, config. There it is. Okay. So the next pieces of information, this is where ISE can really come in helpful, is the accounting part. So let's copy these commands. This is accounting for my SSH serial enable command. Okay, let's copy those in there. Okay, now once I copy that, I can go into TAC operations reports and click on device admin reports here at TACACS command accounting. So what this will show me is actual commands that are being entered by my users. So as soon as I hit the enable console or the SSH console, it started accounting for me. So now if I do config t interface gi 0/1, no shut, name interface outside, and let's see if it comes back, and let's refresh this here, and I should see all those commands here. So it says interface GA01, the user was that, inside out. So let's go log in as help desk. Command authorization fail. Let's try it again. Config T, reload. Right, man, all these failed. Let's go back to refresh, and I should see them come up eventually for the help desk user as well. There it is, something at the bottom there. So let's look at author. And another place you can look at this as well is if you just go straight to TACACS live logs, you should see all the help desk user information getting knocked out and saying can't authorize it. There it is. So here it'll actually tell you, and if you click on the details, it'll actually show you what happened and why the user failed, because the user tried to hit a command that's not in the command set. So if you're troubleshooting something as well, all this information will come in really handy for you as an admin if someone says, hey, I need access to something and I don't have the correct access to it. So that's it, guys. I hope you found this information, this video helpful and informational, and thanks for watching.